Okay, we're live. Let's see let's just check Rav Tzuriel and see what he has to say. Okay, we didn't check this last time. He has a lot of stuff here. Okay, exciting. Like 10 pieces. Shlosh emamatim lo mismatim ve'lein akel b'deka ba'isha. Yishmim abchaz ve'yishmim hanochash. So the Menorah Samor evidently says that ein b'hem emtzois elo o kotza echad l'toiv o kotza l'ra. That's a pretty powerful statement, right? Dogs are either good or bad. They're calling either good or bad. Women are either good or bad. So there's no middle ground. That's what it represents. It's very strange. What he's saying basically only. What he's basically saying is that only men primarily have capacity to be mamutza. Women are either completely good or completely bad, which actually lends credence to the idea that women are more spiritual than men. Because if they're spiritual, they're completely spiritual. Whereas men, they're somewhere in the middle. That's interesting chop, right? Okay. But that's what it says. Almost the derech emtzois, according to the Menorah Samor, is specifically for men, not for anything else. Anything else is either good or bad. Okay. I don't think that that's necessarily true, but it's an interesting idea. Okay. The next one says, the Ben Yoyada says that this halacha of shlosh emamatim v'lo mismatim only was noeg bazman hakadmoi. It's not noeg anymore. And only Shedim and Zugos are so diminished in our time and age that the Ben Ish Chai held one doesn't have to be careful about this. And he says here, the Rav Tzuriel puts his own note here. He says the proof of this is that all the poskim Mishnah Achronim do not bring down this din, except for the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. She's the last one. Okay, then it says again, there is from the Yalkut Eliezer, brought down the Sefer Likuti B'Sar Likute, which is a 20th century work. I don't know the Yalkut Eliezer is, says that on this thing, the Shlosh Emamatim Lo Mismatim, it says Yesh Kan Moshel. There's a Moshel linear Rishoim, Hatzvuim, B'Mesisim. In terms of Rishoim, hypocrites, and missionaries, let's call them, and how to conduct oneself with them in peace. So I guess, if I had to guess, the dog is the Russia. Actually, any of them, I'm not sure. Any of them could really be problematic. In other words, you have to distance yourself, not get involved, neither in the middle. They should be in the middle of you, or you should be in the middle of them. Now, this is like there's the four kitos that ain't mekablim. They're not mekabel pnei shchina. They're not nichlas in the mechitza of shchina, right? They don't get into the shamayim. So they have. So they're chanfonim, flatterers, shakranim, liars. What's the name? Matthew Motzi Shemra and Misapi Lashon Hara and Leitzonim. Someone once told me a symbol to remember them is that there's Chashmal. Okay, they're the Chevrat Chashmal, the electric company. So it could be that this is a similar idea here. In other words, he's saying that it's talking about Rishoim, Tzvuim, and Mesisim. But it could be that the Chanfonim is the Chazir, right? Because the Chazir says, I'm kosher, right? And he comes along and insinuates himself, but he's really treif. That's a machnif. Or the Shakranim, the liar, that's the Nachash, right? Nachash is the first and greatest liar. The Motzi Shemra, that would be, or the Sapi Lashon Hara, that would be it could be either the Kelev or the Isha. I'm not sure which one. I would say probably the Isha, but not sure about that. And the late Sonim, the scoffers, that really is probably the Kelev. Right? So the Kelev was probably the late Sonim because they are Klavim are associated with chutzpah, Pnei Adorki, Pnei Kelev, and late Sonim are basically chutzpahdik people. So it could be the problem is that we have here Kelev, Dekel, Isha, and then Chazir and Nachash are Yeshomrims. So we actually have 5. So not 4. But it could be that there is some shaykhs. And again, you could give many Masholim and say that they work into these things. But then the principle would be that the mashal here is don't get involved with them and don't let them get involved with you. And Mamatzi means don't go on either side of them. It means they're getting involved with you. And don't go between the two of them. It means you're getting involved with them. You have to distance yourself from these groups altogether. Okay? That's a nice mashal. Okay? So then it says, what is the takana? Liftach bekel v'yisayim bekel. I mean, liftach below v'yisayim below. So it says here, Ayin Rashi. But the Meir brings things down from the Maharsha that the between these psukim, it's in Parshas Balak. That's this week's parsha, right? What? Yeah. It says Ki lo nachash b'Yakov v'lo kesem b'Yisrael. So this is that. So therefore, the Rav Tzuriel says because it says between these two psukim, the two psukim are. That's what he wants to look in Rashi. The two psukim are El Kelmotzia Mitzrayim Kilo Nachash B'Yakov B'Tzeram Ad Ma Parakel, or if Lo Samuel Lo Ishkel Ad V'Kimenu. So between these two psukim, evidently, I didn't look now in the Chumash, is this pasuk Kilo Nachash B'Yakov Lo Kesem B'Yisrael, and that means that these the way, this is the symbolism is that you have the kel on either side and kilo nachash in the middle. It's the antidote to putting something in the middle or on the sides, which is inappropriate, right? That's the idea in the middle. So therefore, it's saying that this pasuk it indicates that we are. Yeah, please.
I have a sandwich for you.
Oh, that's very nice. Indicates that we have we are able to transcend the kshafim, and it's kind of like the Gemara Chulin, which says that you should focus on Eino Milvado, right? So this is a similar idea. Kilo nachash b'Yakov kesem b'Yisrael. So that is the antidote. Okay. That's another, and that's he says back in another next thing here from the sefer called Iei Hayam, that kshafim are machishim pamal shamal. The Gemara Chulin says that kshafim they contradict the heavenly host, but somebody believes that Eino Milvado, there's no koach in the kshafim to hurt him. So and that the belief in that is summed up by Ani Rishon Bani Achron Mi Baladai Ein Elohim. I first and I'm less. We say Nestor Safel Singer every day, right? Right? Unless you're Rishon to Achron. So in essence, what we're saying is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Eino Milvado, because he's in the beginning, he's at the end, and everything in the middle is also him. Therefore, it's at the end. And that's why start with El, end with El. That means the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being the end. Start with Lo, end with Lo means negate everything else. El is recognize the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Lo is negating everything else. Eino Milvado. That's pretty good. Okay. And another shot here for the Bnei Yissaschar. You can say the Bnei Yissaschar is the midah of Kel is Chesed Elyon, and which is true. Kel is a very high madrega of Chesed. And so, it seems in some Kabbalistic arrays, at least, that Kel is higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei. because it's Yudke Bavke is a manifestation of Hashem's strength. Hashem's strength is even higher than that. So it's a Chesed Elyon, a very high Chesed, right? And this closes all the, it stops and prevents all the Mekatragim from coming because it arouses the Rachamim on high. And therefore he says, the Aleph Lamed, if you make it, if you put out right after the others, Aleph Lamed Pei, Lamed Mem Dalet, right? That's you write out each letter fully.
Okay.
Then you get the gematria of Hekef, Hekuf Pei. Hekef is like a surround, an envelopment, and with this you're enveloped and preserved from all the Mekatragim. Okay. That is Roy B'nai Yisrael. Okay, so now we mentioned last week the Hani Beitre the Matzi Lu Isha Nida and Chilas Nida Regas Echa Mehem. So he says, Ben Yehuda says, Da Ki Davar Pasha the Kol Dvarim Elu. Know that all of these, it's Davar Pasha, all these things, Lo Nemru LeBizmana Kadmon. That's what I said before. In ancient times, she was Shedim Mazikim Mitzim Harbei. So now we don't have to worry about it. If you recall the Sforno Kavanas HaTorah, I don't know if we ever learned it. He says that Shedim are attracted to the moistures of Jewish bodies. So therefore, that is what constitutes Tumah. You ever did the Sforno with you?
Absolutely.
I mentioned it to you. Yeah. So this Sforno, which says that is really very much in line with our Gemara. In other words, if you say that Shedim are connected to are what cause tumah because they're attracted to the moistures, the discharges, and the dead bodies of Jews, so then that makes sense. An Isha Nida is, like the Shedim are surrounded her like flies. So therefore, that's a place which is dangerous. So if you believe in Shedim, then of course you believe in it. If you don't believe in Shedim, you say, well, but they did, like the Meir says, right? So therefore, they have to cater to those beliefs, right? So but in any event, Ben Yoda says, now we don't have to worry about it. So I assume Ben Yoda holds, back then he did, because Ben Yoda has this famous shlita with Esther, I think it's Ben Yoda, right? He says that Esther sent a demon, Tachashverosh.
Zohar.
What?
Not the Zohar.
It's not the Zohar? Maybe it's the Zohar. I thought it was somehow I remember connected with the many Ishchai. So that is, but so I think he did. Ben Yoda was believing in Shedim, but they're not prevalent in our day and age. It's kind of like one of the things we lost with the Churban Beis Hamikdash. I want to speculate right now. Okay, wild speculation. Ready? We lost Nevuah, concomitant, if that's the right term, with Avodah Zarah. The famous Meshach Chochmah, right? That Avodah Zarah and Nevuah was Zelu Mazeh. They responded to each other when we lost one, we lost the other. So the same thing with Shedim and Baskol. When there was Baskol, there was Shedim corresponding to it. It was Zelu Mazeh of a Shedim are a level down from Avodah Zarah. Baskol, and that kind of revelation is a level down from Nevuah. And when we lost when we lost the Baskol, then we no longer had the power to fight Shedim. So therefore the Shedim had to be withdrawn from circulation. They still exist in remote places, I don't know. But assuming they did once exist again, not like the Rambam. So then when the tools for Shedim were removed, the Shedim themselves have to be removed. What do you think about that?
I think I read something like this once.
No, you're kidding. It's not my Chiddush. Rats.
I mean, not with Shedim specifically, but just generally. I think it's in Emes Yaakov somewhere.
Okay. Anyway, I'm very happy. It's in the Emes Yaakov, but I think the talk is something to that. That is, there always has to be a Zelu Mazeh, and then when each time we lose one aspect, we lose the other aspect as well, for good and for bad. Okay. Tap myself on the back for that one. Okay, so That's the end of the Rav Tzuriel's on this page. So he said, so we did the Nida one, right?
Not really.
Oh, we didn't?
We didn't explain it.
Okay, well, we just
But,
explained
yeah.
it. So, Hani train Nashi the Yasser Pasha's Drachim. We have two women sitting in at a crossroads. One side of the pathway, the other side of the pathway. They're facing each other. No doubt, they're for sure involved in kshafim. Okay, women who sit at the crossroads and are facing each other are up to mischief. Okay, so they are they're involved in kshafim. What you do? There's another way to go. Go the other way, right? If you like a darker cleanup, there is no other way. If there's another person within, they should hold hands. If there's no other person there, name a hach, you should say it this. Okay, the Rashi says that Osam Shedim Shatemis Askos Bohem. They're already killed by arrows. In other words, these are names of Shedim, and these are the Shedim which they have been destroyed by the arrows. And it's interesting. You take a look at the Rajbam. He says, the 6 line, 7 line, 6 line by the bottom. Kach Shema Rabbeinu, which is Rashi, Mi Rabbo, the Rabbo and Pi Rabbeinu Gershom, right? In other words, they had a Messiah on this idea. So let's see what we can do with this idea. Okay, okay, the first three I have a cool shot on. Okay, you ready for this? This is good. Agros is learning Torah in order to get rewarded. Agros reward. Aslos is learning. Agros is a reward. Asla is saving money, like making something zol, right? Agros, Aslas, Asya is healing, right? These are all reasons why a person would be doing Torah mitzvah shalol lishma, for Agra, for Asla, or for Asya, okay? So then, the only one I have a problem on is Belusia, right? But so what does Belusia mean? So I think Belusia is related to there's a thing, an otsar bolus is a mixed up, something which is completely confused and mixed up, kind of related to Mubulbao, right? So this idea is that something which is distorted. In other words, there is doing Torah mitzvahs for reward, doing Torah mitzvahs for savings, doing Torah mitzvahs for healing, and doing Torah mitzvahs in a distorted way, a confused way. All these are potentially dangerous, right? And the Kochos of Tumah are able to get hold of such a person because the hashgacha on such a person is not intense, because his Torah is not completely pure. So therefore, whatever Kochos of Tumah, whatever Mazikin, whatever Mkachrim exist in the world, they can overpower him. So therefore, we have to, yes, be cognizant, such a person, of the dangers in the world which come from his lack of lishma, lack of doing things for the right reason, which of course most of us don't do things for the right reason, at least not most of the time. And so mischatzia b'cheik kava. So here it says on the side in my Gemara, they change actually the girsa from b'cheik to b'cheitz. right? They're killed with, like the Rashi and the Rashbam says, that they are they're killed by arrows. But one could say differently that just a second. Let's try looking this up. I don't want to say this until I look it up. Give me a second. This wasn't what I was looking for, but this is not bad. Okay, this is not bad at all. Okay. This is from the Alter Rebbe, from Likutei Torah. Drufsim Lusukas the Shmuni Atzeres. Payal from Rav. Okay, so listen to what he says. This is a well-known Hasidic idea. The Yisron or Mina Choshech, Peshesh Yisron Umaylo or Kishabah Mina Choshech, as they can hear the Kehin Novi Migo Chashoicha, as the Kunei Zohar says. Shesh Yisron Umaylo or Kishabah Mina Choshech Dafka. Hainu, meaning Shayasim Adam Eli Bo. Person will be cognizant. Kol Masav Giburov. All of his deeds, all of his speech, and his thoughts, Asher Lo La Hashem Hema, which are not to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'chol Yimei Chayev Lo, throughout his life, Shem Choshech Mamish, the literal darkness, the Hester part of Yisborach, V'avo B'chein B'chachi HaChofetz Mi'usav, but nevertheless he wants and desires to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is an or which comes from the Choshech. And we call Shekain, and certainly the Kavachomer, Shesh Yisrael or Hashem, in such a case, Asher Lezos Tisrabeh, Tisgadel Hava B'ma'od, B'yeser Seis, Umalo Le'en Kates. He's saying about this is why about Shula is greater than the Tzaddik, he says here. Because there's much more of a yearning and a drive to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu after having been in the darkness. And then he says, to remove his soul from its prison, lishtapech el chek aviyah, to spill out its soul in the lap of its father. Ein sof baruch hu, mamish, l'davka bo mamish. The Lubavitchers, they love the word mamish. So that's the chek. Here means that if I go back to the lap of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyachol, so then that eliminates all the potential Mekatrim Umazikim. So that is assuming the chek is specifically. The skat of the chek means all of these distractions, all of these shortcomings are fixed and are undermined by being connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the lap of a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, in the emotional way, right, to be chassidish about it. When one has dveikus in Hashem, then that eliminates all these problems. I was looking for some other quote about chek and Torah, but that's not, as I said, that's not bad. But what was I thinking of? It's also in Tanya. This must be a quote from the Torah. Let's see. No, it's also in Tanya. The end of the third perek. It says when you have that yearning to go back, a close nefesh mamish, to the point where it's complete learning. Same idea. This let's go back to the lap of its father. Okay, so this chek business also the Baal Tanya seems to be have a quoted again more than once. There's what was I thinking of? I was thinking the Torah was given from the chek of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I thought it was some sort of chazal like that. Just give me a second. Let me just see if it's bothering me that I have this recollection. Oh, maybe this is a remembering. The exact opposite. We were speaking earlier this evening about Dawkins. So, by Acher, it says the Lashon is Sifrei minim minim noshu mito cheko. That he was carrying, he was carrying inside his cheko's like by his bosom, it's carrying it inside his coat. He was carrying all these Apikoros books, and when he walked to the base Medrash, all the Apikoros books fell out of his coat, and everybody saw what he was up to. Sifrei minim noshu cheko here. So this is when it was in the base Medrash. So in the chek is something which you appreciate. By Acher, the chek was these other things, right? So conversely, one has to have one Torah in one's chek. I remembered. I remembered in some way, shape, or form that Sifrei minim noshu cheko, but the opposite would be a Sefer Torah in his chek. Okay, but I can't find an exact quote. That's not interesting connection to Acher. Okay, let's go further. Hi, mother Pokabita Sabina the Salkamit Vilas Mitzvah. Woman, if you meet a woman, she's coming out of the mikvah. If he goes and has relations with his own wife, now they're two strangers, so he becomes seized with a power, with a spirit of licentiousness. If she has relations first, so she gets ruach nuni. My takanta, what's the takana? Lemachi shofich booz al nedivim. He casts scorn on the generous ones. And he takes them in through a desolation without a pathway. By the way, in Rashi itself, it says, although it's kind of distorted, that Rashi got this from Rabbeinu Gershom. It says, it's confusing, but it means something along those lines. Anyway, so the I don't see that anybody says any pshat here. But Rav Tzuriel, I saw, does mention this. He says, according to Marashah, the shofech booz is a tikkun because it's a remez to the second. This is going to some of Marashah's part. Is the remez the second, sixth, and seventh days of Sukkot? Why those? Because the words, the extra letters there spell out I think mine. Niske, we learn Nisuch HaMayim on Sukkot from the extra letters in Niska, Niskeim, in those in this says the two of them Niskeim, and one of them it says Nisacheha. So you learn out from the extra instead of the Niska. So in the extra mem we learn Nisuch HaMayim.
Sorry, I'm not following.
Oh.
What do you mean the extra letters?
Every day of Sukkot in the Torah has its own korbanos mentioned, because korbanos go down by not one each day, right?
Yeah.
Only one part less. At the end of each parsha, those 7 parshas says v'niska. Bring these v'niska. In 3 places it changes from v'niska. It says in 1, 2 of them v'niskehem, right, which is an extra mem, and one of them nusachel with an extra yud. I might be getting the details wrong, but that's basically what it is. So there's an extra mem, yud, mem. From here we learn the libation of water on the mizbeach, which only takes place in Sukkot and not the rest of the year. None of the libations are the nisachim are wine, and Sukkot there's also nisach hamayim. Right.
Okay.
So mayim always represents desire. It represents Torah, and it represents desire. So bringing the water on top of Mizbeach means we devote our desires to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? And so because the time that Sukkot is a combination of the entire year and the holiday festivals and the combination of Yom and Roim. So that's the time when one can best bring one's desires before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the point here is that he's saying that the Nisuch HaMayim is the takana for Ruach Nunim. It's like the channeling of the Ruach Nunim towards something good, towards something positive. So I assume the Ruach Nunim is because it's here. It's very much kipshuta, right? Because here we're saying that a person a person who meets up with a woman who just came from the mikveh. Obviously, he knows she just came from the mikveh somehow. So she met in the old days. Very often they came out of the mikveh naked. He might have met her naked. Because it was on they went in the rivers and lakes, right? So they came out and he met her. So therefore, the Ruach Nunim could be understood very simply, right? That this is something which is an effect of having had this unpleasant encounter. So but in any event, the way to counteract that is shofet booze on the divim, and the divim here means normally the divim means generous ones, but here it means people who are generous in the wrong way, right? So therefore, there's a way in order to diminish that Yetzer Hara which a person would have had developed in that situation, something along those lines. Okay, my dechsiv gamkel b'yetzer mavzlei roraki atoy madi. What does it mean? That it says even when I will go in the valley of death, I will not be afraid. Somebody who sleeps in the shade of a lone palm tree, the shade of the moon, with a period. It's only where the two Dekalim don't have the shade, each one's shade, the shadow falling on the other. Enough for two Chavrei Love, lace lombard sarpam. Elad the Tanya Yoshim Betel David Chidi B'chotzer. But it says if you sleep in the shade of a soul decal in the courtyard, by Yoshim Tel Levana, Madama Barosho, Echidam is talking about. If there isn't a shadow pointing one from the other, I feel beside the night, it's a problem in the field, right? Not just in the chutzner. El lav shine the chutzner. I forgot not feel two of the chavrei love, even though the shade of one falls on the other. It's still a problem. Shema mina. Okay, and that is conclusive. So the Rashi says, Rashbam says, sorry, find some Rashi. That was, let's see Rashi. The shade is like a monkey. It goes from decal to decal in the foliage, I guess, and doesn't damage it. So this is talking about the Rashi is going straight up. It's talking about the Shedim who inhabit the kolim, and tzaddik katam yifrach. A tzaddik is like a date tree, right? It grows high and tall, and it has fruit on top. So tzaddik katam yifrach. But if you don't have in the absence of, or I should say, a person is not a complete tzaddik, so evidently being in the presence of a tamar is a kitrug. Because are you a tzaddik? No. So why is it going to be a tamar, which is like a tzaddik? So therefore, I guess that's why Shedim can attack a person, because there's a place of danger. I'm not sure, of course. Let's just finish Gemara. It's only the west side of the moon, whatever that means. Amadincha leisamo. So the Rashbam says, when it comes up in the east. And then the shadow is going to fall in the west. Then that's not a problem. So this is very obvious. The symbolism here is very obvious, right? That the moon waxes and wanes. The moon represents Amitzvah, right? The beginning of the month is not a problem. The end of the month is a problem, right? So therefore, even though if the moon shines on you, right? Celebana means not the shadow. The moon does create shadow, but a shadow which is created by the moon, right? So in the shadows, that's the effect of the moon on Earth. So it's kind of like when the effect is positive, so then you're not in danger. The effect is negative, you're in danger. In fact, there was a minute which is no longer kept, basically. That used to be that people only got married at the beginning of the month. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I had heard of it.
Right, they don't get married. It's in the Ramon, Ebenezer. They don't get married when the moon is waxed, not when the moon is waning.
What don't we do?
Because there wouldn't be enough dates for people to get married. Baruch Hashem, Am Yisrael needs dates to get married. And it simply wouldn't be enough. When people live in a small shtetl, they could arrange their marriages that way. But now the people are, who's going to get it? You have to get a hall when you get a hall. That's the way it works. So anyway, so that's an obvious symbolism. That somehow the Tzid Tel She'arech represents positive and negative. And generally speaking, Am Yisrael is nimshal to the moon, and that Am Yisrael throughout history waxes and wanes, and the waning times are good, and the waxing times are good, and waning times not so good. Okay, we'll stop here for tonight. And I guess this ends our series on Shedim?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to go further, you let me know, but we're going to assume that this is it. And we'll sign off from our audience as well. 6 Shirim on Shedim should be enough for now.